we passed Gordon on YouTube now. I don't want to throw anything at
Hai
Gordon,
superato Gordon su YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Questo è l'applauso.
Yeah.
Questo è il Business Lounge di Millions.
Il podcast per chi sogna in scala.
Il nostro ospite di oggi arriva da molto lontano. Lo abbiamo intercettato al volo. È giovanissimo e ha creato un vero e proprio impero su YouTube. Welcome, Nick DiGiovanni.
Thank you guys.
Straight
Ciao,
from Boston.
Nick.
Straight from Boston.
Ciao Nick, è vero piacere averti come ospite qui a Millions. Tu sei il re degli chef youtuber negli Stati Uniti d'America. Che onore, cioè grazie di cuore per essere qui da noi.
Welcome. So obviously we're happy to have you here. Your story is amazing. We met 5 years ago.
We did.
A contestant on MasterChef season 10.
I was.
You were happily a student at Harvard University, decided to leave your academics behind, throw your hat in the culinary ring, come and give us your best at MasterChef. You didn't win. You left Harvard. You left your family.
I did.
And then after that experience, you put a cooking video on YouTube, right?
Wow.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, amazing, right?
Amazing story.
Raccontaci un po' questa storia.
Yeah, so I started cooking when I was about eight years old. And for most of my life, it was sort of on the back burner. I actually didn't consider it to be my main career path because my family was very traditional. We have a lot of doctors and teachers in my family.
Okay.
And so I think everybody thought I was going to go the route of doctor or maybe teacher or maybe business or law. And I think the whole time food was always sort of there for me. And I just, it took until being forced to choose a major in college for me to realize that food was what I loved the most. And so fast forward to MasterChef, through MasterChef, I posted a video on YouTube, TikTok, saw a little bit of early traction there. And then honestly, I really haven't looked back since.
It just kind of exploded on you.
It just became something that I fell even more in love with. And then not only was I still able to do things with food, but I was able to just tap into my creativity, which I think has always been one of my greatest strengths. And trust me when I say I have many weaknesses, but creativity has always been something that if I combine food with creativity, it can make some really great things. And that's exactly what I was able to sort of start seeing and doing.
I said, it doesn't seem like a great master plan, but it worked.
That's a good way to put it.
Did it just happen to you, or did you actually think this through when you were just starting?
I would say a little bit of both. But as one of my college coaches told me, you make your own luck. And so I think that a lot of the decisions that I made leading up to where we are now, I mean, they all certainly helped. And I work more than, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm talking to two people that work more than me, but I work more than pretty much anyone out there that I know. And that's just a fact. I don't really ever stop working because I really love it. And when you love it, it's easy to work.
Amazing. It's true. We're lucky enough noi siamo anche fortunati perché amiamo il nostro lavoro e facciamo, cioè quel che ha detto, quando tu fai un lavoro, tu fai la cosa che ti fa felice, che ami, puoi farlo tutta la vita, guadagni e non lavori mai.
È verissimo, ha detto delle parole giustissime.
Tu sei autonominato Chef Nick.
Chef Nick.
Chef Nick. Chi ti ha dato il titolo di Chef Nick? Sei autonominato? Did you call yourself Chef Nick, or did someone give you that name?
People started calling me all sorts of things. I think, well, there was a little bit of also that association with MasterChef for a long time. So the first nickname that I actually got, I don't know if you ever saw this, was Gordon Ramsay's son. That's what everybody on the internet was calling me, which, yeah, I mean, you're cringing a little bit. Yeah. But that was the first nickname we got. And again, I loved MasterChef and I wanted to have that as part of my story, but I also wanted to dissociate a little bit from MasterChef just to create my own sort of thing, right? And so eventually things kind of grew on their own. And now, we're about to pass, or by the time this airs, we'll have passed them. So we passed Gordon on YouTube now. I don't want to throw anything at
Hai
Gordon.
superato Gordon su YouTube.
Yeah.
Questo è l'applauso.
Yeah. So now we've created our own thing, which is nice.
Tra i due, tra me e Joe, quello più passionale, quello un po' più buono sono io. Ho una domanda. Da dove nasce la tua passione per il food? Se conosci lo street food italiano, sei un tuo tipo di street food italiano preferito? E io faccio pubblicità, conosce Antico Vinaio e l'ha mai assaggiata la sua schiacciata?
A lot of great questions. So my passion for food came from family, like I think a lot of people, right? I was very lucky in my family. We had a great grandmother who was 101, and then Noni, La Nonna, who passed away at 99 as well. So I had these old great grandparents who had seen everything with food, and I actually got to know them and learn their passion for food when I was super young. So seeing that and growing up, it was easy to fall in love with food. In terms of that Italian kind of food and culture, I mean, I've been to Italy many times now. We used to come with my grandparents, and this was one of the few places I feel like my family actually visited growing up. Otherwise, my parents were very strict. Otherwise, we were stuck at home in our rooms working all the time. But yes, I've been to All'Antico Vinaio, and it was delicious. So.
Parliamo di numeri di ascolti YouTube, i vari canali. Raccontaci un po' il tuo mondo di numeri, come sta adesso.
YouTube now, we're well past 20 million subscribers, which is great. That's our biggest sort of focus and platform. And then across the other social media channels, I think we have another 10 to 15 million subscribers kind of spread through those, maybe even more than that. So, and across the other social media platforms we have about 15 extra million subscribers. So again, our main focus is YouTube. That's kind of what I've created my whole business around, my whole team around. That's where I spend 95 to 99% of my time and energy.
Wow. Those are some very impressive numbers. A sto punto tu sei tipo il numero uno sicuramente nella categoria di cucina nel mondo di YouTube. C'è The Beast e poi c'è te.
Yeah.
So kind of declare that, like you were like, what is your status? Like who's the most followed and where do you stand?
Sure. Yeah, so I think when you look at some of the top creators on YouTube, it becomes a very small community once you get to know some of all those people. So obviously there's Mr. Beast, and he's sort of the pinnacle of the whole YouTube space. And I would say he's the biggest in entertainment. And then there are a few different names that people kind of consider as the leading voices on YouTube for different categories. And I think now, I think my team and I are considered the leading voice in food, which is very exciting.
In the world. Nel mondo.
In the world, yeah.
E quanti anni ci hai messo a fare tutto questo? How long did it take?
To how long have I been doing YouTube?
How long from the start to now? How long has it been?
Yeah. We're about 4 years in now since I started making videos.
4 years.
Just in 4 years.
4 years, yeah. But you can experience this exponential growth, right? Because that's just how social media works, first of all, which is very nice if you want to grow quickly. And that's why you see these new creators all the time creating businesses out of nowhere, and they just kind of come up on this meteoric rise. But I think at the same time, we've also done different things to try to grow faster. So we're now dubbing in 15 different human languages on all our videos, Italian being one of them, actually. And so even though I wish I could speak Italian, at least there's somebody out there who's putting my voice into Italian as well. So for the video. So that's helped us grow a lot as well, because if you look at India, for instance, they're the biggest user of YouTube in the whole world. And the numbers aren't even close. So that alone is just one whole area that if you tap into that suddenly, your channel can just double in size. And we haven't even started really touching that yet.
Realmente tu non hai toccato la televisione tradizionale, neanche i streamer, sei andato da concorrente MasterChef a YouTube. Mm-hmm. Perché? You basically jumped traditional television and streaming television.
Yeah.
You went from being a contestant on MasterChef to being a YouTuber. Why ignore all the traditional, what people would consider traditional steps?
Well, so I think there's a benefit to both traditional and digital, but the fact is now that digital, YouTube especially, has become number one. They're getting 1 billion watch hours a day on just televisions, which is just crazy to think about, right? And so they're ahead of Netflix, Hulu, every traditional media out there. YouTube is beating them out. And so I think, and that trend only kind of continues to grow and look better for them. And
Amazing.
So, I mean, the data is there. And if you just sort of, that's why you see all these huge, that's why you see all these huge personalities creating YouTube channels now, like Cristiano Ronaldo just launched a YouTube channel. There's been some huge actors and actresses launching channels because they all realize that that's where the most views are.
Il futuro è YouTube, dichiarato di Mr. Nick Di Giovanni.
Ho una domanda per te. Da bambini solitamente sogniamo cosa vogliamo fare da grande. Ti chiedo se tu avevi un sogno da bambino, poi sei molto giovane e quindi ti chiedo se hai anche un sogno da più grande, cosa farai da grande? Sei un'ambizione, un sogno ancora da coltivare?
So I tend not to think about the future too much. I plan maybe 1 to 2 months ahead, and the reason for that is that the reason for that is this space changes so incredibly fast that I kind of want to be agile and dynamic all the time, and so I purposefully don't really plan that far ahead. But as a kid, I always wanted to be sort of different things at different times, and I think it's so easy to be influenced by people that you meet or your family or whatever there might be out there. So I don't even really think so much about the past anymore there. It's just food is what I always loved. That was always the truth for me, is food was always there. I always loved food. I always loved cooking, and now I get to do it every day. So I couldn't be happier about that.
Bello. Wow. Nel tempo tu hai avuto il privilegio di avere tanti celebrity sul tuo YouTube show, Matthew McConaughey, various athletes, Gordon Ramsay. Dice un po' i tipo di persone note che sono stati sul tuo YouTube, poi dici il tuo video preferito che hai mai fatto, una cosa magari per gli italiani che non ti conoscono possono andare su YouTube a vedere questo video.
The celebrities, yeah, we've been lucky to get to do a lot of videos with a lot of celebrities. I think,
Tipo?
yeah, Matthew McConaughey was really fun, as you mentioned. Shaq was so just silly and playful. I mean, he's one of the tallest people I've ever met, but he was just goofing off the whole time. I mean, there have been a number of sort of different music artists and athletes as well.
Paris
Hilton.
Paris Hilton, Tom Brady. We've
Brady.
done multiple things with him because he's from Boston. So I think we've done 3-4 things with him now.
He never give you a Rolex?
No, I don't own a watch actually.
You don't have a Rolex. Do you know, in Italia devi avere un Rolex. È un diritto
I
di
know,
ogni
yeah.
maschio nato in Italia di avere un Rolex. Qualcuno porta questo ragazzo
Portate un Rolex.
I'll ask Tom Brady for a Rolex
Okay.
next time I see him.
Qual è il video che ti rappresenta di più? Quello che dobbiamo tutti andare a guardare.
So one of our most recent videos, actually, I think shows the kind of creativity that we can put behind something. It's called "I Trained a Rat to Cook Ratatouille," and literally we paid these Hollywood animal trainers for months and months, a lot of money, by the way, to train these rats. And rats, if people don't know, are one of the smartest species on the planet. They're very, very intelligent animals, and so they're able to learn some really amazing things. And we literally have this video where we taught this rat how to cook with me, and it was running on a wheel that would turn a bottle of olive oil and pour it into a pot. Then it was running up and choosing the proper ingredients out of some of the wrong ingredients mixed in to know which ones to cook with for the ratatouille. And it was, it would crawl up my arm and onto my head and just stand up there and kind of look around, sniff things, turn on an automatic stirring thing. So we had all these different all this custom stuff made for this rat. And we built a full kitchen just for this one video. And so I think that's a good example of combining that food with that creativity and just doing something that you wouldn't think possible, but it actually is, and it's really fun.
Io ho una domanda, sono molto curioso. Dietro questo mondo, ma quanto può costare una produzione di un video così figo? Quanto può costare? Quanto lavoro c'è dietro? Quante persone possono lavorare a questo video?
So it's very dependent on the actual video that we're shooting. Sometimes you have just me and one camera guy, and that's it. And because I'm quite shy, and so I like it to be quiet if possible. Other times we've had 30 to 45 or so people on set. And there's just people running around, but I don't like that as much because there's too much commotion. And the way that I started was with these kind of smaller, a leaner team. And so it becomes a bit overwhelming at those certain times. But we've gotten to the point now where we'll spend $50,000, $100,000 sometimes on just one YouTube video, which if you asked me 4 years ago, I would have never thought that would be possible.
Wow.
And we do. And so then you hope that it pays itself back.
Wow. Congrats.
Parliamo di altre cose fuori di YouTube. Allora, parliamo di imprenditoria, altre aziende che hai lanciato, libri che hai scritto, beneficenza, altre cose che fai che nascono nel mondo di YouTube.
So yeah, one very exciting part about having a YouTube channel, and once you start to see growth, is you can create a really great business around it. And so first thing we did was we launched a cookbook, which I thought would be just a great first move and a nice way to sort of get further into the kitchens of a lot of people watching the videos. That did really well for us. We hit New York Times bestseller list 6 times. I mean, it was distributed all over the world, and it was a great success.
Tipo,
so that was
anche il numero 1 libro venduto in Amazon per parecchio tempo, like number 1 best-selling Amazon cookbook for a while.
Yeah, it's been number 1 bestseller on gourmet cooking on Amazon for a year and a half now.
Wow.
So that's crazy. Yeah.
So cookbook, libro di ricette, grande successo di Nick Giovanni. Poi?
Yeah, cookbook, and then we've created a sort of a seasoning company called Osmo, and now that's in 3,000 plus Walmarts around the U.S. and
Wow.
And that's been going really well. It's pretty simple right now. Still, it's just sort of elevated seasonings, but we're working to kind of grow that into a larger sort of pantry
Tipo
staple.
sale, pepe, peperoncino.
Simple things right now.
Semplice.
Yeah, simple things right now, but we're going to try to grow it into a sort of larger, maybe sauces, condiments, other things like that. And so that's been really nice as well. And then we have a kind of a charity merchandise company where every item that you buy, every shirt, every sweatshirt, whatever it might be, it donates 10 meals. And so that's been really fun because, it's just a fun, simple thing that we're really not looking to make so much money on, but more just donate meals and have kind of a fun project.
Abbiamo parlato tanto di YouTube, che chiaramente è il tuo focus principale, ma la mia domanda è: come vedi gli altri business, su quali business sei concentrato al momento e qual è il tuo progetto futuro? Raccontaci un po' ora della tua storia reale, del presente e su cosa sei concentrato.
So I'm still exploring a lot what would make the most sense as a next step. The difficult part for me, being in the position that I am in right now, is that there's no real set playbook and there's no kind of set path for this. I mean, historically, if I'd been doing this kind of thing, but 20, 30 years ago, restaurants would be the first thing that you jump to and it would make total sense. But with this whole new digital space, I don't really know. So I'm still trying to learn every day, figure it out. And I have a really great team to help me sort of figure that out, but I don't know.
Il ristorante sarebbe stato ovvio anni fa, però un lavoro di merda lo hai evitato.
Giusto.
It says a shit job, so you're avoiding it.
Nick, su questo canale ci seguiranno tantissimi giovani. La mia domanda anche per loro è: cosa puoi consigliare a un ragazzo giovane che si vuole buttare sul digital per diventare il futuro Nick Di Giovanni? Oppure se hai avuto dei momenti di difficoltà, come li hai passati, se c'è stato qualche momento difficile, come hai superato tutto questo?
So a fun fact is that the number 1 most sought after job now for younger people is to be a YouTuber, which is crazy to me. But it's also not crazy because I could see how from the outside it would look like it's very fun and the perfect job. So I'm actually asked this a lot, even by families and by younger children who want to be a YouTuber growing up. And the big thing that I would say is just, I sort of have this belief that most people, or a lot of people I should say, show up every day to work and they're not super excited to be doing whatever they might be doing. And I think if you've found something that you love to be doing, then it's very easy to say this. But I would just say that that if you do have, if you sort of just stop for a moment sometimes and you just sort of think, what are your passions? What do you actually like to do? I think that can tell you so much about what you should be aiming for and trying to do. And so whether they're trying to be a digital creator or just anything else in general, I think it's something that even my whole life I sort of overlooked, this love for food. I never took it seriously enough, but now I'm able to just do it all the time and I can do
get paid.
and get paid, but you don't really even, and I always thought it was crazy when people said this, but you don't really even think about that part of it as long as that part's sort of working out, which if you find what you love to do, it often seems like it does. And so that would be my advice, is just sort of stop for a second and just think, what do you actually like to do? And pick something with that. Because the answer is sort of right in front of your eyes a lot of the time, I think.
Do you ever have like a video that didn't work? Like of course you don't, but like,
No, we've had.
Think of something that you did wrong.
Oh yeah, certainly. There have been a few huge challenges for me in this whole space. The number 1 challenge, honestly, becomes work-life balance, because when you have a persona online, there's really no line drawn anymore between you and that online persona. And it becomes very difficult. You almost sort of struggle with your own identity in that sense of like, when am I just Nick at home and like the old Nick that I used to know, and then when am I this Nick that's making videos and on the internet that everyone's seeing? That can be a real struggle. And then I think on top of that, a big part that I think a lot of creators and in the digital space face that they never felt like they sort of signed up for is the idea of just managing people. And once you build out a team, that becomes more and more difficult because you're dealing with real people who have real lives on their own, and you need to support them in their own lives separately, and then you have to support them in the workplace too. And it's a real challenge. And so that's probably been the hardest thing for me more recently, is just learning more and more how to manage people and work with people, because it's very challenging. But it's also very rewarding, I think, as you figure it out.
Ti faccio una domanda, Nick. Hai qualche creator or YouTuber italiano che tu conosci e ammiri magari?
Well, of course, I know Kabi, who does the thing with his hands. Yeah, he always shows you how obvious the answer can be sometimes, right? I've always also been, I don't know if you consider him a creator, but I know Christian Pulisic plays here. And so I've always been a big fan of him for soccer. You know? Yeah, or football. I always, I don't want to call it the wrong thing here.
C'è una piccola paninoteca qua, si chiama Antico Vinaio.
But
Il
it's no
fondatore
good.
si chiama
It's not
Tommaso
good.
Mazzanti. L'ha mai
It's not
visto
good.
sui suoi social?
It's not
Lui pensa che è un figo, però dimmi te.
Io ho una domanda un po' particolare. In Italia vediamo la figura del creator, del digital creator, in maniera molto particolare, come quasi non un lavoro, e invece è un lavoro a tutti gli effetti. Qui siamo a Millions, il podcast che va in business in scala, e quindi vogliamo capire quanto lavoro c'è dietro il digital creator. È un lavoro che sappiamo che si guadagna bene, ma facciamo capire anche agli italiani che ci ascoltano soprattutto quanto lavoro c'è dietro e che è un lavoro vero.
For all intents and purposes, I have my own production company now, right? And at the very beginning, I didn't think about that, but that is the reality now. And it becomes a very stressful thing where I think for a lot of people who create videos on the internet, they feel like they have to not only do well every single time, but that each new thing that they post has to outperform those previous things, because you just want to keep growing, and that will show, the growth is so blatant. It's so black and white with this stuff because it's just numbers. And if the numbers get bigger, then you're happier. And if the numbers get smaller, then you're sadder. And that's just how it works. And that makes it, in a way, it's nice because it's easy. You can say, okay, look, I'm doing better. But also, if you're not doing better, then it becomes a real problem.
Oggi l'azienda di Nick Di Giovanni in vendita. Is Nick Di Giovanni for sale? Can someone buy this company? Me. Can I buy this company? Is it for sale?
It's a great question. It's a very interesting question. I think because there have been a number of YouTubers who have sold their channels and their companies. When that happens, it oftentimes turns into something totally different. And the interesting strategy that people will do now is they'll take it from something that was in their own name to this sort of more general name, and they'll rebrand everything and hope that somebody will come along and want to take this and run it for many years. I would say right now, no. It's not something that I'm interested in because we have enough funding and enough money from our own videos that I can just make whatever video I want. And that's, if money were a limiting factor in that sense, then maybe I would consider it. But right now,
in tutto questo, hai mai preso un socio, un investitore? I said in all this, have you ever had an investor or taken on, or you own everything outright?
No, the amazing thing is that you can start making videos with $0. And when I started making videos, I didn't really have that much money. And what I did was each time I made enough money to buy a nicer camera at the start, I would buy a nicer camera, and then I would make more videos. And once I could pay that next camera off, I'd pay the next camera off. And that's how I grew my way to my first really nice DSLR fancy camera that was maybe $4,000, $5,000 all in. Now we have like 10 of those cameras, and there's all this crap laying all over the place that we film with. But that's how I built my way up to my first camera. You don't have to have any money. You just need a cell phone or something at the start, and internet. That's it. So that's the amazing thing about this.
So, però alla fine l'azienda è totalmente tua, non hai investitore, non c'è nessun altro coinvolto.
No investors, no nothing. It started in my kitchen, and it still remains in my kitchen.
Started from nothing and you brought it up and you created something of great value. How do you manage your own success? And how do you spend the fruits of your labor? You buy a Porsche, you go on vacation. Like what makes you happy? Obviously not Rolexes, but there must be something.
Well, no, as you can probably tell from my clothes, I don't spend money on clothing. I don't really spend it on jewelry or fancy things. The very simple truth is that I just spend it on more videos. And the other thing is that I will say this. I don't often like talking about money, but what I will say is that if I wanted to right now, I could be making probably 3 to 5 times as much money as we make easily like this. But I do not accept 75 to 90% of the brand deals that come through. I just say no. And I will tell you, we've turned down ones that are $500,000, maybe even a little bit more for some, that in maybe 3-4 days of work, I could have done it and that would have been it. But it would not have been in line with the strategy that I'm trying to follow here. And I am purely trying to, it is in my best interest to make the viewer experience as great as it can possibly be for the people on the other end of the computer or TV or cell phone. And so I make every decision based on that. So I have enough money to make any video that I want to make right now. And I have a business manager that makes sure that we're not spending too much money on videos and that we have more coming in than we have going out. But otherwise, I just like to stick in the creative process, and I'm just trying to grow as fast as I possibly can, which is why you'll see me like casually give out $10,000 in a video or things like that, because you hope that that's going to pay off, and it sort of just because it's fun.
And because you can.
And because you can, right.
A noi piace sempre chiedere la ultima nota che hai preso sul telefono, l'ultima, quella appunto preso al volo stamattina che racconta qualcosa di te. Mi puoi leggere?
Okay. I will read you my exact last note on my phone. So funny enough, I flew overnight from Boston I flew overnight from New York to Milan. Didn't really sleep last night.
Emirates or Delta?
Delta.
Delta.
And I was working on a video idea that I thought was really clever at like maybe 3 a.m. So this is it.
Okay, let's
so
hear
it's not quite well rounded yet, but it's there. And this is the one right here. Okay.
Really?
So my title is I Cooked for My Subscribers. And my idea there, I have a general idea on the top, is that the people that are watching the videos can't taste anything through the screen. So for all they know, it's all fake food, or there's glue in there like they would use in a commercial for getting a cheese pull. And I liked sort of this concept of me traveling to maybe 3-4 different countries, India, Canada, the UK, somewhere in the US, and actually cooking for some of the people that watch the videos and then filming that, just because I think that'd be fun. So this is my latest idea. I do a lot of my video planning on planes, and funny enough, this is my top note right now.
Bringing Nick Giovanni to the people around the world, cooking for the Indians. You go to Mumbai.
Why not, right? Wow. For all they know, there's there's a ratatouille just doing all the food for me. They don't know what's happening, right?
Nick, io ho un'ultimissima domanda che è proprio una curiosità. Una persona come te, super carino, giovane, strafamoso, se tu avessi queste 3 possibilità, scegliere tra followers, celebrità o denaro? Domanda difficile, ma quale sceglieresti?
Io già so la risposta, ma facciamo la domanda comunque, lo facciamo rispondere.
I would pick followers, because
obvious.
You can the other two can come from that, right? I'll tell you the truth. If I could do all of this stuff without somehow, I know this is sort of an impossible ask, but if I could do all of this stuff without fame, then I would immediately choose that right now. If I could just walk the street or do whatever without anybody saying anything.
2 domande. Allora, sei conosciuto nelle strade d'Italia e Milano? Ti conoscono la gente? Vengono, Nick Di Giovanni, selfie, sì?
In every country now. We can go anywhere in the world.
Tutto il mondo.
It happens anywhere. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You said if you could actually do what you do without the fame, you would like it more.
Definitely. If somebody gave me the choice right now, I just had to click yes or no to sort of never be recognized in public again, or have it happen all the time, I would choose never again. And don't get me wrong, I'd still love to go and talk to different people that do things, that watch the videos, or that, are passionate about food, perhaps because of seeing one of my videos. But that's not a part that I'm really chasing, because I've always been shy, and that's not a part that I really thought about and signed up for.
Nick, chi meglio di te ci può dare un consiglio? Questo sarà il nostro nuovo canale YouTube, Millions. Dacci qualche consiglio, come si fa?
It's a great question. Well, the first advice that I give anybody when they have a passion and they want to put it on YouTube is to simply go out and look at some other, even remotely similar channels that are doing it really well and just see how they're doing it, because they already probably have multiple years of experience on whatever you're about to do. And you can learn a lot of things just by quickly looking, seeing what concepts did well, seeing what concepts didn't do well, and just seeing how they edit things. You can learn so much from that. So
Posso tradurre? Copia quelli che non fanno già bene. Continua.
Create your own spin on something, right? But I've studied as many channels as I can on YouTube, and I know all of them very well, and I can tell you why a video does well, and I can tell you why a video doesn't do well, or if it's not going to do well, usually with pretty high certainty at this point.
That's a whole nother business.
Yeah. I mean, you
could be
could
like
do
a
a little
YouTube
consulting.
consultant.
Yeah. But I think people go to YouTube now, and these are facts straight from the head of engineering at YouTube, who does all the back end of the platform. People go to YouTube now to either do a quick little maybe lunch or snack break, and they watch a bunch of short videos, as many as they can in a short period of time, or they go to sit and watch for a while. They want to sit on the couch in front of the TV now, and they just want to see something really long. And so as long as you create something that people are going to feel like they're a part of and that they can enjoy, and that you're passionate about it, and it can be sustainable, because I feel like that's a key here, is it has to be sustainable, then I think it'll do really well. But know that it is a full-time job to run a YouTube channel, a successful YouTube channel. And if you don't give it that full love that you give anything else in your life, then it may fail. That's what I would say.
Ci ho dato un gran consiglio, dai, siamo
Sì,
avvantaggiati.
Assolutamente sì.
Questa è la business lounge di Millions. Dov'è il tuo prossimo viaggio? Quale sarà il tuo prossimo viaggio?
I don't know. I'd be that person that walks into the airport and maybe just looks at the screen and just says, give me a random ticket, right? Wow. Sometimes that's how I am. And I think it can take you on these crazy new journeys that you learn something new about yourself. You discover something that you've just never seen before. And so kind of the way I think about it is I'm along for the ride sometimes.
Si chiama Airport Roulette.
Why not, right?
Hawaii.
Bellissimo.
Dubai.
Bellissimo.
Yeah, just close your eyes and pick. Yeah.
Firenze?
Firenze.
Cosa pensi di Firenze?
I've been once, but I was younger, so I don't remember. But I think so. I love all of Italy. That's the truth. I love all of Italy. Everywhere I've been in Italy, I love.
Speriamo che sicuramente gli italiani amano anche Nick Di Giovanni, e speriamo che facciamo anche altri giovani conoscere questo ragazzo veramente stupendo. Grazie della presenza, Nick, grazie
di cuore, Nick, ci hai lasciato veramente tanti consigli da questa puntata per noi, ma anche per i giovani che ci ascoltano.
Grazie.
Grazie.
To everybody watching the video, if you love what you just saw, make sure you go down, hit the subscribe button, and it would help us out a lot if you liked the video as well. And if you want to see anything from these two guys, or if you want to see me back on the podcast, throw a comment down below.
Hai capito cosa dobbiamo fare? Cazzo!
Però lo paro.
Great.
Grandissimo.
Thank you guys. Great job.